I never thought a simple trip to the grocery store could turn into a full-blown adventure, but apparently, life had other plans. It started like any other Wednesday. I had my shopping list, my reusable bags, and a vague sense of optimism that maybe, just maybe, today would be uneventful. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. I parked my car, grabbed my bags, and stepped into the store. At first, everything was normal soft music playing, people milling around, the faint smell of bread and sanitizer. I grabbed a cart and started with the essentials. Milk, eggs, bread, and a few snacks I didn't really need, but justified by saying, "It's for emergencies." Little did I know, the real emergency was about to begin. I was walking down the cereal aisle when I heard a faint commotion. I ignored it at first, thinking it was just kids running wild or someone dropping a jar of pickles. But then I noticed a small crowd gathering near the front of the store. Curiosity is my weakness, so naturally, I had to see what was happening. I pushed my cart closer, and that S when it hit me, a live magician was performing in the middle of the grocery store. Not a flyer, not a pre-recorded video, an actual magician with a cape and a wand, pulling coins from behind people's ears and making scarves appear out of thin air. Normally, I would have walked past, but today, I decided to stop. I squeezed into the crowd, balancing my cart while trying not to get hit by flying scarves. That's when I felt a tap on my shoulder. I turned, and there was this little kid, probably no older than 7, holding a bright red balloon. He pointed to me and said, You're next." Before I could protest, the magician swooped in and declared, "Our volunteer will help with the grand finale." And just like that, I was the star of the show, standing in the middle of the grocery store with everyone watching. I froze. My heart was racing. I had no idea what I was supposed to do. I'm not a performer. I'm not even remotely coordinated. But the magician looked at me expectantly, and the crowd started clapping, waiting for something magical to happen. The magician handed me a deck of cards. "Pick one. Any one," he said. I fumbled through the deck, like a complete amateur. And of course, dropped half of the cards onto the floor. The audience gasped and then laughed. I tried to act cool, sweeping the cards back into my hands, and picked one at random. The magician nodded and said, "Now, place it back anywhere in the deck." I did, shaking like a leaf, and handed the deck back. And then, magic happened. The magician snapped his fingers, and the card I had chosen appeared in his pocket. The crowd went wild. I had no idea how it happened, but I couldn't stop laughing. I looked around, and everyone was cheering. Strangers were giving me hype. My trip to the grocery store had turned into a moment I would never forget. But that was just the beginning. After the magic show, I moved on to the produce section, thinking the day had peaked and could only go downhill from here. I was wrong. I picked up some apples when I noticed a small dog running around, completely At first, I panic. Dogs in grocery stores are usually not allowed, but this one was clearly friendly and wearing a tiny vest that said "Therapy Dog." The dog ran up to me, wagging its tail, and suddenly jumped into my cart. I froze for a second before bursting out laughing. Now I had apples, snacks, and a very enthusiastic dog in my cart. People were staring, but honestly, I didn't care. As I was trying to figure out how to gently remove the dog without hurting its feelings or getting bitter, I felt a tap on my other shoulder. I turned to see a store employee holding a small, glittery envelope. "This is for you," they said. I took it, confused, and opened it. Inside was a voucher for a free lunch at the cafe in the store. Apparently, I had been randomly selected as their customer of the day. I stared at it, blinked, and laughed so hard I almost dropped the dog. This day was officially insane. I pushed my cart to the checkout line, dog still in tow, when the next surprise hit. The cashier looked at me, smiled, and said, "You get a free mystery item today." I leaned over, curious, and she handed me a small box. I opened it right there in line, and inside was a single, perfectly wrapped donut. A chocolate one, sprinkles on top. I laughed, thinking, this is ridiculous. But at this point, Ridiculous was exactly what I needed. After paying for my groceries, dog, and donut, I walked toward the exit, thinking the day had finally calmed down. I even took a deep breath, savoring the sunshine outside. But of course, life had one last trick up its sleeve. As I walked to my car, a street musician started playing a live saxophone performance. The melody was perfect, smooth, and somehow seemed custom-made for my chaotic day. I stood there for a moment, balancing my cart, dog, and donut, and just listened. People walking by smiled at me, probably sensing my ridiculous energy. I realized I was smiling too, wide and unapologetic, and then the dog, clearly done with the day's adventures, jumped out of the cart, trotted over to the musician, and sat down like it had been waiting for this moment. The musician laughed, patted the dog, and the crowd around us started clapping along to the rhythm. I couldn't believe it. My random trip to the grocery store had transformed into a full-on mini festival. Magic, therapy, dogs, free food, live music. It was absurd. But it was also perfect. I had survived surprise after surprise, and somehow each one was better than the last. By the time I reached my car, I was exhausted, sticky from a little chocolate donut mishap on my hand, and completely exhilarated. I sat down, taking a moment to reflect. I hadn't planned for anything that happened today, and yet it had been one of the most memorable days of my life. I realized that sometimes the best moments come when you least expect them, when life decides to throw surprises at you in a perfectly chaotic, unforgettable way. So here's the moral. Don't resist the surprises, even if they seem weird, inconvenient, or downright impossible. Embrace them. Laugh at them. Take a picture if you can, because someday you're going to tell the story of that one Wednesday where everything went sideways, and everyone around you will laugh and ask, "Wait, that actually happened?" And you'll smile, knowing the answer is yes. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever had a day that started normal and ended completely unexpected? Share your story in the comments. Hit like if you've ever been caught off guard by something amazing, and subscribe for more stories where ordinary life turns into extraordinary chaos. Remember, surprises make life memorable, and sometimes the best stories come from the days you never see coming.